When we talk about dominance in basketball, one name inevitably comes to mind. Before the highlights, before the championships, before the debates, Shaquille O'Neal. Not just a great player, not just a Hall of Famer, a force that bent the game around him. But here's the real question, one that still divides analysts, historians, and former players alike. At his peak, was Shaquille O'Neal the most dominant player in NBA history? That's what we're here to examine. Not through nostalgia, not through exaggeration, but through context, evidence, and impact. And if you appreciate deep basketball analysis, the kind that goes beyond box scores, subscribe now, because this channel is built for fans who respect the history and understand the game. Shaquille O'Neal entered the NBA in 1992, and from the very beginning, it was clear this was not a normal rookie. He wasn't learning the league was reacting to him. At 7 feet 1 inch, over 300 pounds, with rare speed and coordination, O'Neal represented something the NBA had never truly seen before, a center with the mass of a heavyweight and the mobility of a forward. In his very first game with the Orlando Magic, Shaq posted 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks, but the numbers didn't capture the message. The message was physical, psychological. Opponents felt him before they could scheme against him. As a rookie, Shaq averaged 23.4 points, 13.9 rebounds, and 3.5 blocks per game. Those weren't rookie numbers, those were franchise-altering numbers. Almost overnight, the Orlando Magic transformed from an afterthought into a must-watch team. Arenas filled, national attention followed, not because Orlando was winning championships, but because Shaq was redefining what dominance looked like in real time. And what made it even more unsettling for defenders was this: they knew exactly where the ball was going. Low post, 2 dribbles, contact, finish, and still they couldn't stop it. But Shaquille O'Neal wasn't just overwhelming physically. He learned quickly. He understood angles. He read double teams. He punished hesitation. By his second and third seasons, Shaq wasn't just overpowering defenders. He was manipulating them, drawing help, finding shooters, controlling tempo in a way few centers ever have. In 1995, just 3 seasons into his career, he carried Orlando to the NBA Finals. No championship, but something more important was established. Shaquille O'Neal wasn't a phase. He wasn't a novelty. He was inevitable. And yet, this was only the foundation, because true dominance isn't defined by a rival. It's defined by what happens when expectations catch up. If you want more long-form, serious basketball storytelling, no shortcuts, no shallow takes. When Shaquille O'Neal arrived in Los Angeles in the summer of 1996, the conversation around him fundamentally changed. In Orlando, Shaq had been promise fulfilled, a phenomenon who lived up to the hype, a once-in-a-generation body paired with surprising agility and charisma. In Los Angeles, that wasn't enough. The Lakers were not a normal franchise. They were history compressed into expectation. Every superstar who wore purple and gold was measured against ghosts: Magic, Kareem, West. Greatness in LA didn't begin with talent. It began with results. And Shaq was suddenly asked to become something more than dominant. He was asked to validate dominance with championships. Early on, the fit was uneasy. The Lakers were talented but unstable. Coaching changes disrupted continuity. Systems shifted. Roles weren't clearly defined. And beside Shaq stood a teenager named Kobe Bryant, immensely talented, fiercely driven, but still searching for identity. Shaq himself was evolving. Physically, he was already overwhelming, but mentally, Los Angeles demanded refinement.
Raw force could win games, it couldn't secure legacy. Shaq began to understand that if he wanted to rule this league, he needed structure, not just strength. That realization changed everything. When Phil Jackson arrived in 1999, the Lakers finally found alignment. The triangle offense wasn't built to showcase individual brilliance. It was designed to create inevitability. Spacing, reads, balance, and for Shaq, it provided the perfect stage. With proper spacing, Shaq received the ball deeper in the post. With simplified reads, he didn't need to force the issue. And once he caught the ball in the paint, the game essentially froze. Defensive schemes collapsed instantly. Single coverage was suicide. Double teams arrived too late. Triple teams only created open shooters. Nothing worked. Between 1999 and 2002, Shaquille O'Neal entered a stretch of dominance that defies modern comparison. This wasn't about highlight plays or viral moments. This was about inevitability. Possession after possession, outcome after outcome, the result felt predetermined. In the 2000 NBA Finals against the Indiana Pacers, Shaq averaged 38 points and 16.7 rebounds per game. Those numbers weren't inflated by pace or modern spacing. They were produced in one of the most physical eras the league has ever seen. Hand checking was legal. Paint protection was violent. Defenders were allowed, encouraged to punish stars. And Shaq didn't just survive it, he broke it. This wasn't dominance by efficiency alone, it was dominance by force of will. Opposing centers weren't simply outplayed, they were erased. Game plans unraveled, rotations shifted, careers became defined by how helpless players looked trying to guard him. The league adapted, not by solving the problem, but by conceding it. Teams began stockpiling 7-footers, not to stop Shaq, but to absorb fouls. Hack a Shaq wasn't a flaw exposed, it was an admission of defeat. If intentionally fouling was your best strategy, you weren't competing, you were negotiating damage. From 2000 to 2002, the Lakers won 3 consecutive championships. Shaq earned 3 straight Finals MVPs, not because he was the flashiest player, but because he was the axis everything revolved around. Even as Kobe Bryant ascended into superstardom, the truth remained unavoidable. The dynasty was built from the inside out. Shaq controlled the paint. Everything else flowed from that control. But dominance has a cost. Physically, the toll was immense. Every possession was a collision. Every playoff run added miles to a massive frame. Mentally, the pressure never eased, and internally, tension grew. Egos clashed, philosophies diverged. What appeared indestructible from the outside,
Era of dominance eventually reaches a moment of fracture. For Shaquille O'Neal, that moment did not arrive because his power diminished. It arrived because the ecosystem around that power could no longer contain it. The partnership between Shaq and Kobe Bryant remains one of the most successful in NBA history. It is also one of the most volatile. 2 generational talents, 2 different timelines, 2 personalities convinced, with good reason, that the team revolved around them. Shaq was already established, a physical force the league had never truly solved. Kobe was ascending, obsessive, relentless, and determined to control every detail of his ascent. Their philosophies were destined to collide. Shaq valued efficiency, presence, and inevitability. Kobe pursued precision, perfection, and total command. What began as background tension slowly evolved into the defining narrative of the dynasty. Winning masked the cracks until it couldn't. The 2004 NBA Finals loss to Detroit exposed everything. The Lakers weren't defeated by superior talent, they were defeated by cohesion. Detroit functioned as a unit. Los Angeles functioned as individuals.
And in the aftermath, the organization made a decision that would reshape the league. Youth over gravity. Future over force. Shaquille O'Neal was traded. For many players, that moment would have marked the beginning of decline, a symbolic passing of relevance. For Shaq, it became something else entirely, a test. In Miami, Shaq redefined himself. No longer the center of the universe, but its anchor. No longer the loudest voice, but the most stabilizing presence. Paired with a young Dwayne Wade, Shaq adjusted his approach. He played fewer minutes, conserved energy, focused on positioning rather than constant explosion. And in doing so, he demonstrated something fundamental about true dominance. It isn't just about how hard you hit. It's about when and where you apply force. In the 2006 NBA Finals, Miami defeated Dallas. Wade was the engine, dynamic, aggressive, unstoppable in space. But Shaq was the structure. His presence collapsed defenses, controlled the paint, and dictated matchups before the ball was even tipped. That championship mattered, not statistically, but philosophically. It proved that Shaquille O'Neal could still shape a championship team, even without being its primary scorer, even without being its loudest personality. His gravity alone altered outcomes. After Miami, the decline was gradual and inevitable. Phoenix, Cleveland, Boston. The body no longer responded the same way. The force that once arrived in waves now appeared in moments. But by then, the legacy was already secure. Which brings us to the central question. Was Shaquille O'Neal the most dominant player in NBA history? The answer depends entirely on how dominance is defined. If dominance means longevity, others enter the conversation. If it means skill versatility, the debate widens. But if dominance means forcing the entire league to adapt to your existence, the argument becomes remarkably narrow. Shaq didn't just win games, he changed roster construction, he changed defensive philosophy, he changed how the center position was evaluated. Teams didn't ask, how do we stop him? They asked, how do we survive him? That distinction matters, because dominance isn't measured by aesthetics, popularity, or highlight reels. It's measured by disruption, by how profoundly a player alters the sport around him. And for a sustained period, no player in modern
NBA history disrupted the game the way Shaquille O'Neal did. Defenses bent, strategies failed, careers were shaped by proximity to his prime. Debates will continue, comparisons will evolve, new stars will emerge, but dominance leaves scars, and Shaquille O'Neal left them everywhere. If you value serious basketball storytelling, history, context, and real analysis, subscribe to the channel and comment below. Was Shaq the most dominant player ever, or does that title belong to someone else? Because arguments fade, but dominance endures.